Welcome to the land of reality, where the truth will be heard. And we don't give a damn about your feelings. So stomp your feet, cry if you want to, scream and shout, cause we don't give a damn, fanboys. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Most embarrassing person on the planet. Well, most embarrassing athlete on the planet.
Oh, it really is. Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday Live. Hello, Angry Old Hoop, Sports and Fitness Rants, and Speam. Robin, if you could do us the favor of shouting out everyone, I would appreciate it, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Once again, man, we are back with another Wednesday live edition. We appreciate you guys. We came a little bit later today, man. So we appreciate you guys rolling with us a little bit later than we normally do it. Once again, shout out to Uncommon Sense, man, for giving us the intro to these lives. Again, shout out to my man Cyberius, the czar of video footage, AOH, my man Speam. Again, man, I love being here with you guys. And again, shout out to everybody in the chat that continues to come through, man. It means a lot. Jordan Stopper 82, Dakota, Lareed Brock coming through as always. Ivan 1294, QB to LB, Trade 1941able, Legend 24, Lynetta 402, Lamar Lashley, Anthony Sanchez, Rookie 30590, Michael LaRush 4317, Smooths 21, Lionel Jones, Mac Bain, shout to you, Mountain Skies, Banhead, Import AI, Chase 1738, Mountain Skies, JW Novotny, shout to you, Newman, Pink Lady Scorpio, John Freeman, Armando Ruiz, Daniel Parker, Laney Musics, Terrence Potts, Isaiah Valeriano, Just a Messenger, shout to you guys, Hip Hop Fresh Forever, you guys know the deal, man, let's roll.
That's how to bring it, Robin.
Yo, shout out to my man Ghetto C, the General. Yo, Deron Fredericks, what's good? Yo, shout out to Spain.
Hello to everyone.
Spain. Oh, man.
Hey, Spain, you're up.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not following that, but shout out to, and rest in peace to DMX, because every time I close my eyes and listen to Robin talk, that's exactly who I see. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to basketball.
Oh, God. With the bitch ball shirt. So we got a pretty full schedule today of topics. We're going to start with some sound bites. Then we're going to talk about the NBA finding the Clippers not guilty. Then we will proceed with why do LeBron fans always have to lie? Patrick Beverley takes Morant over John Stockton. Kevin Durant says MVPs are more important than championships. And then we have some miscellaneous topics to discuss. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to kick it off with the odd couple. They are talking about the Lakers potentially regretting their second sale in such a short amount of time. So I'm going to play the clip. If you want me to pause it, just let me know.
Well, let me intro it since this is the one that I chose. Because here's my concern. It's like, have they found a way to make Luka disappear since Luka was up and coming? And I don't understand how Jeannie Buss got to sell the Lakers and now still gets to sell the Lakers or stop selling the Lakers if she already sold the Lakers. I know she kept some weird position title, but like, so how much of that first 10 billion did you get? But these guys, it's already going to be a challenge for Luka and the Lakers to recover from what LeBron did to them. And then you're now under new ownership, and the previous ownership was supposed to be behind Luka. Is this undermining Luka? But the reason I thought that the odd couple was worth playing is they brought up some more issues that I hadn't even thought of. They brought up the statistical history of what happens when there's new ownership. So, okay. I just wanted to intro that.
No, absolutely. If you guys want me to pause it, let me know.
First, we got to start with the big news of the day. Apologies to UCLA legend Russell Westbrook. The Los Angeles Lakers have been sold. That's right. They have been sold. They had just got purchased like a year ago for $10 billion. Instead, they got sold today for $12.5 billion to businessmen Josh Kushner and Bob Iger. If those names sound familiar, it's because Kushner is part of the Trump family tree, and Bob Iger used to run Disney. So those are names you would know, and you probably should know. And I'm just going to say this about the whole situation. If you are a Laker fan like myself, like Ephraim Salam, it's a dark day for us right now. Because history says when you get new ownership in the NBA, it doesn't go well. I believe it was Bill Simmons who coined the phrase new owner syndrome. That is a very real, a very spectacular thing. Most recently, we saw it happen in Dallas. Patrick Dumont comes in. Team had just made the NBA Finals. And less than a year later, Nico Harrison's in his ear like Littlefinger, has him trade away Luka Doncic. Why? Because he thought he needed to shake things up. Before that, Matt Ishbia in Phoenix. Apologies to Bree. She's nodding there in agreement.
Pause.
He shows up. He's like, you know what? I got to make a...
And I also, it's really obvious, but I hadn't put together. Luka has gone through this twice in as many years. Like it was Luka was involved in both of these situations. So it's actually 3 owners that he's suffered through.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a
splash. I gotta make something happen. I need to put my fingerprints on this team. Let me trade away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all of our picks for Kevin Durant. Then I'm going to double down a year after and trade whatever other picks I have for Bradley Beal. They had to dump both of those guys unceremoniously just to get back into the black. And they're probably stuck in play in purgatory for the next 5 to 6 years because of it. Before that, Joe Tsai in Brooklyn buys the team, and he's like, you know what? I got to make a splash. First thing I'm going to do, I am going to sign Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Yep.
So what makes this also interesting is that it makes Luka's trade even look more shady than it already did before we knew all this was happening behind the scenes. Right? Like a once-in-a-lifetime player like Luka goes to the Lakers for basically beans and rice, right? And now all of this other BS was happening behind the scenes, you know, with the Buss family and their siblings. And it just goes to show, well, you can't prove it with any definitive, you know, proof, right? But it just goes to show how shady that entire deal was, because I can't imagine a $1 billion franchise or any $1 billion business making a move like that if there's this kind of choppy water ahead. If I'm explaining that correctly, like all this coming to light again, just further shows exactly what we're saying. But it's just like, damn, like it might be worse than what we thought it was when it was actually taking place.
Well, and then you have to add in the collusion of the Mavericks getting the first round pick.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So forgive me. That's all kind of wrapped up into the same idea. Like it just happened to work out. It's like that whole idea whenever you talk to a scientist about like the miracle of life, right? It's like this 1 in 19 trillion dollar chance that it's a miracle that we're alive. And it's interesting to me that LeBron James seems to career-wise get those same miracle type circumstances while also being on the Titanic. It's just
happened more than once.
It just seems very convenient is all.
I mean, that's how I find it interesting that they like to pretend that there isn't collusion when there's so much evidence that there is.
Right.
Like what
Yes.
these teams that LeBron has benefited from are the luckiest teams in the world.
Right. Exactly.
Like, get out of here. Are you guys ready for me to play?
Mm-hmm.
Free agency. KD off an Achilles injury. Kyrie, of course, couldn't predict COVID. That was a whole different ball of wax. But then we did this. I'm going to double and triple down. I am going to trade for James freaking Harden. I think those guys played about 8 games together before it was all broken up again. Alex Rodriguez in Minnesota, a team that just made the Western Conference Finals. He says, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to trade away Karl Anthony Towns because I can't afford to pay the luxury tax. I'm not going to do it. And if you are the Lakers and you have a team that is now being purchased by Kushner and Iger, you have to be very concerned because these guys, much like the previous owners, are going to be hell-bent to do one of two things. One, they're going to be like Ishbia and say, I am going to put my fingerprints on this team. I'm going to show you that I know better than most. That's why I'm so successful. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to backfire. Or number 2, and this is more likely, you're going to be like Alex Rodriguez. You're going to say, hey, I came in to make money first and foremost. I am not here because I am a Laker fan. I am not here because I'm even a basketball fan.
Yep.
I am here because
This isn't that. This is curing a LeBron James virus problem. This is the equivalent of just throwing the entire computer out instead of doing a hard reset or what have you, right? Like, this isn't just fixing some old attitude issue or some spite that you have against the league. That we're talking about maybe historically the most well-known franchise in the history of the league other than the Knicks, right? Being damaged so poorly and so hardly by one individual that they had to sell basically twice over the course of 3 years. Like, this is so much worse than that.
I was looking into it to see if I could find why the most recent owner sold.
Right.
And I haven't been able to find a definitive answer.
Right. That's pretty weird. Like, who makes that sort of a purchase and then it's like, fuck it. I was only kind of kidding with the $10 billion.
Yeah,
but we're not going to lie to ourselves and say that, like, we know that it has to have to do with just the up and down nature of LeBron being on that team, right? Like, it has to play a majority of the part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they made some money, but is that really all? I mean, maybe it is. That's
$2
another
billion. They make $2 billion.
2.5.
Yeah, $2.5 billion.
Oh, goddamn!
Years.
I mean, hell, that wasn't million. We talking about billion. We talking about, you know what I'm saying, like Austin Powers, right? Billions.
That's a great reference. That's a great reference.
They're on par with how much you can make being the president in 1 year.
Yeah,
That shit is crazy.
I mean, I think that's what that whoever why they sold it, whatever the actual reasons were, we really can't say what's in people's mind. But at the end of the day, these kinds of people, like, individuals that are in the running for ownership of professional sports teams, you're talking about a very small percentage of people in the world, and their ultimate goal, more often than not, is to make money. So in that regard, it was a very successful transaction for those individuals, everybody involved in that. But again, we talk about the family ownership. The family ownership wasn't necessarily just about it being a family thing. It was also about the family, like Dr. Buss, caring about basketball. Mm-hmm. Like, he was into it. I mean, so a lot of this stuff, are these guys basketball people? Are they competitors? Because that's another aspect. I saw a video. I remember watching, I don't know, it was one of the old, I think it was like the 92 first round versus the Miami Heat. The Bulls were playing the Miami Heat. It was the first time that the Miami Heat had made the playoffs as an expansion team. And they were interviewing the majority owner. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head right now. At the time, they're interviewing him before the game. This is before game 3. And they were hosting the playoff game, Michael Jordan, the Bulls, in Miami. They're interviewing this guy, the owner. Guy's, loaded, right? One of these kinds of people. And it was Craig Sager. And they're asking him about, hey, man, people didn't think you'd be able to bring a basketball team to Miami. You guys want to survive here. No one's going to come and watch basketball here. Shout out to Uncut Hoops, 93 Zay, I saw in the building too. And Craig Sager said, what do you have to say to the people that said you should have tanked at the end of the season for a lottery pick? The guy said, those people were never competitors. He goes, they've never competed. He goes, so when you talk about what kind of ownership you have, are these people competitive like that? And as regards to the sport of basketball and want to go out there and do something positive?
It's an interesting question. When I was looking into this a little bit, I saw something about there are 5 Bus children, and Jeannie Bus was trying to stop this sale, but the other kids were part of it. So I think they maintained partial ownership, which is why Jeannie Bus was able to maintain whatever her made up position was. And so they also wanted to sell their part of the franchise as well, but Jeannie Bus didn't appear to want to, from what I've read, that she was trying to stop her family from selling the remaining shares, but I couldn't find any definitive information on that as well. It's just speculation.
Not to mention this whole thing with Shams going back and forth with the Bus family and the Bus family's attorneys and all this stuff. It's sloppy. It's like unprofessional is being polite, calling it that. Like Shams, for as much as ESPN works him, he better be careful, because he's really quick to tweet this stuff and get it out on social media. And it would appear that he gets it out without maybe necessarily checking the facts each and every time. And I think he's caught up in this whole idea of getting information out, which is like the opposite of integrity. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Shams, actually, as we kind of push LeBron further and further out of the league. I'm blanking on what was it? Woj, right? Wojnarowski.
Further and further out of the league, as he's still being called the face of the league. And
you can't make this up. You can't make it up.
Yeah, people have been saying for the last 3 years that LeBron is done and out, and yet every one of those 3 years the league has been catering to him. Are we ever going to stop prematurely celebrating?
But again, AOH, think about another clutch known representative in Shams irresponsibly reporting something, a la Kendrick Perkins. I know I bring him up every week, but I'm going to keep doing it until he gets fired. A la Kendrick Perkins, just irresponsibly saying things and causing just chaos now out in the real world. With again, I'm going to steal your word, AOH, you bring it up all the time, with no consequence at all. You're just reporting things now. Whether or not they're true doesn't matter, but you're going to say it. You're going to say it first. Who cares what the butterfly effect is? Because you're just going to get a promotion from it.
Isn't that all that Shams actually is a mouthpiece? Hey, pretend, we're going to feed you this news and then you deliver it. Sure. He's not actually doing it. He's not an investigative journalist.
No, not at all.
What are they called? Actually, what is his title? What are any of their titles? Bro, now that I think about it, what are they called when they're on TV? Because they're sure as shit not journalists.
They're not sports analysts either.
They're not sports analysts. They don't analyze anything. So I really,
they're narrativists. I need to pay attention. Calling them
storytellers. I need to pay closer attention to what it says when that stupid ticker comes up next time.
Right. All right. Well, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep
because this is damn good business. And if you want to know what kind of businessmen you have coming now in Los Angeles, let me give you some updates. All right. I don't want to get into the the Josh Kushner stuff of it because Wikipedia and Google is free. And there's a lot of scandal involved in some of the dealings that he's been involved with and his investment group with his brother. You can look that up yourself.
No.
But Bob Iger is the name you probably do know, right? Because everyone knows Disney, everyone knows ESPN and ABC. Bob Iger had to come out and admit publicly that one of the reasons why his tenure in Disney ended so spectacularly with so many box office flops and creative missteps is because he was worried about quantity over quality. That he says, I'm going to keep going to the well for the Marvels, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Solo, a Star Wars story, all of these, what do they call AI slop nowadays? Anything he could do to turn a quick buck. Pause. He was not interested in making it good.
Well, this adds evidence to what you guys said. These are owners who are about turning a buck. Just like you don't care what you did to a movie franchise, and you don't care what you do to a sports franchise. It's all about making a buck. And like earlier, somebody talked about the previous owner being shady. It's like, okay, and what are the new owners? But are there any owners in the NBA that anyone feels good about? Like, are there billionaires that you actually can have a good feeling about? Maybe there are. I'm not saying there aren't, but
I don't think so. I mean, even Warren Buffett, who is a billionaire, says that there are no good billionaires. Like, they're just, you can't become a billionaire without stepping on people. Like, it's just not possible.
I mean, listen, we going down. When we start talking about some of the things that we're talking about people with money. This is what I was saying before. Like, ultimately, to talk about billions, when you start talking about billions, and not millions, we're talking about billions here. When you start talking about these kinds of people, like I said, people who afford teams. Like, I mean, come on, man. This is like, think about every time you see people buying a team. What do you normally see? It's a group of people. It's like a whole bunch. It's like 10 people. And so it's like, yo, I got to get some of my boys out here. Even the people that you think are rich, they have to get their people to back them up. And even then, they're buying part ownership of a lot of these teams, man. Like,
right.
As rich as you think some of these people are. You mentioned Alex Rodriguez before. Yo, man, peanuts. He got peanut money compared to some of these other people out here. You talking about the Disney guy? Are you freaking kidding me, man? Buy Alex Rodriguez, man. Okay, 10 times over. So when you talk about some of these people, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's ultimately this person's goal for buying this team? Like, if you're buying the team because it's a hobby to you, because think about Michael Jordan, for example, man. I hate to mix about Michael Jordan, but let's just think about him, for example. He's someone who's on that level. He's got the billions. He's on another level as far as money goes. He's now invested in racing, right? Race cars. Is he just in it just to put his name on the car and put his logo there? No, the man's in there. He's invested in that. He's all about the racing. So he's starting to see and reap the rewards of that investment now. People knock him because the Charlotte Hornets didn't win any championships when he was there. But the things he did for that franchise overall, bringing it back to Charlotte, once again, flipping the franchise's worth, doubling his money, getting all this that he put in. When you think about what he's doing in the racing, he's not just an owner there that's just there to make the money.
Yeah.
I know this was my topic, so I want to be the one to say, let's move on soon, because I just curious how many people understood the additional hardship the Lakers were about to go through, which is going to aid people like Richard Jefferson, who said, "Oh, the Lakers are in for an interesting 5 years." Yeah, they are. It's already begun, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point, though.
Anyway, I don't want us to talk about money and all of these political maneuverings of franchises anymore, unless you guys really want to.
All right. Well, let's get to some of these supers real quick. I don't want to get behind. Isaiah Valeriano, Goat James.
That was pretty good, Cyberius.
Yo, that was actually really good, man. Outstanding.
Wait till I break out some of my accents. All right. Mr. Shanny,
you don't have an accent?
I think that their official title is Inside Reporters.
Inside report. I saw Uncle. Shout out to Mr. Shanny. I saw Uncle Hoops put that they're propagandists. That's what their label title is.
Yeah,
they're reporting on what's going on inside LeBron James. Sounds
they have truth tellers.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, so again, I'm not even entirely sure how much we'll spend on this because it doesn't necessarily merit a lot of conversation. But the NBA found the Clippers not guilty.
All right, can I go?
Go ahead.
So I can't keep up with all this shit because my understanding is that there was a second investigation in addition to the one that was on hold from last year. And then there was another bit of corruption going on. And next thing I know, everything's fine. Is this just fake? The NBA pretending? And I thought Pablo had done some really, my understanding was that he had done some pretty deep digging and that the evidence was strong. And now there's no evidence.
Isn't he one of the good ones? Speaking of investigative journalists, isn't he supposed to be one of like the good ones?
Well, he also got criticized for that. Like I'm one of the few people that defended him. It's like, oh, what are you doing spending your time investigating that? Well, what do you want him to do? What everyone else is doing?
You want strive. You want him to strive for greatness. What do you mean?
Be like Shams and tell us that LeBron is basing his decision on his daughter, when in fact it has nothing to do with his daughter, and that wouldn't even be interesting if it was true. I mean, which of these is investigative reporting? What Pablo did.
So he should have talked about him going on a copter. You're right.
I brought up a little bit of it, and I'll just read this real quick. The Clippers released a statement. First of all, I think it's funny that they are releasing a statement about their guilt or innocence.
Oh, gee, I wonder what they
said. The Clippers
we're sorry. We did it. We're sorry.
Yeah. The Clippers did not funnel money to Kawhi Leonard, arrange for others to compensate him on their behalf, or otherwise provide him with undisclosed compensation outside of his NBA contract. The NBA's investigation began in September into whether the Clippers had circumvented the salary cap through a $28 million endorsement deal Leonard signed with Aspiration, a now bankruptcy environmental company for which he did no public marketing work for. The investigation was also investigated whether Leonard had another previously unknown endorsement deal with another company, and if the Clippers improperly converted expenses for their star and were not reimbursed for them, according to multiple sources who spoke to The Athletic on the condition of anonymity to others to speak freely.
I want to give credit real quick. I'm AOH. I'm gonna give you props for calling out that this is them trying to put a foot down. I want to add on that I think it's them trying to put a foot down because they know that Kawhi and Kawhi's representatives and his whole kind of corner, they're so passive, and they know he probably doesn't give a shit that they can. It's like reprimanding like the straight A student, right? You're doing it because you know that they'll be fine. I think it's interesting that they'll put their foot down or try to put their foot down on something like this when Rich Paul every season just walks around the league manipulating anything and everything with no investigation, no talk of investigation, no anything. I think that's what stands out to me most is the fact that continues to take place every day. The fact that Draymond Green has a podcast or had a podcast where he could speak on, shit that happens in the locker room, internal things. And these things happen every day, and they're going to investigate Kawhi Leonard. All right, cool. We still don't know if he's going to play in Toronto. We still don't know if he's going to play for the Clippers. Like, none of this shit matters. Right. I think it's just them doing it we do slap hands. We do spank their butts when they're bad, when they're naughty, blah, 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 blah. Look, we did what we're supposed to do. So I think that's what this is.
Wait a second. So a couple things here. I have to say. Number one, when you talk about investigation and they find nothing, that always makes me laugh when you hear about, oh yeah, we did an investigation and we didn't find anything. Once again, what kind of investigation was done? They don't let you know anything. There's no transparency in a lot of these quote unquote investigations. It makes me think of the scene from the movie Walking Tall with Dwayne Johnson, when he walks into the sheriff's department and he tells them, they did an internal investigation. And he says, an internal investigation? He's like, yeah, that's good enough for me. That's basically what you got going on here. They tell you they did an investigation. Whatever was found or wasn't found is irrelevant. It goes all back to what we said before, right? We talk about the money, right? It goes back to the money. Because again, man, when you talk about someone like this guy, Ballmer or whatever the dude's name is, who owns the Clippers, all right? The dude owns a freaking team. All right, you guys understand this man owns a freaking professional goddamn team. So when you talk about the money these guys got, you think these dudes ain't. See, that's the problem that we talk about. We talk about it, something like integrity. Man, man, you listen. It ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. It's not easy for you to have integrity when you got people out here offering you thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars to make decisions, to do things, to look another way. I don't want to hear about no investigation. All right, give me a goddamn break.
Speem, you mentioned consequences and slapping on the hands. I'm going to remind everybody here's what would actually work if you wanted players to change their behavior. When Anthony Davis was found guilty of tampering in 2019, they should have prevented the tampering that he and Clutch Sports were involved in and not let him go to LA. Instead, he got a $50,000 fine and proceeded with what is supposed to be illegal behavior. I mean, what the fuck is $50,000 to these people? You might as well have shouted, "Hey, green light," if you want to continue tampering.
Yeah.
Which they have.
Without question.
You know what I really feel bad for? When you had that whole thing up there, they had mentioned a bankrupt environmental police. I feel bad for the environment. Yeah, it's an environmental company. I feel bad for the environment because once again, man, people take the environment for granted. Everyone thinks these things are a joke. And the environment's all jacked the hell up, and people don't think it is. Wake the hell up, open your goddamn eyes, all right, and take some ownership and some responsibility. And out of all of that, I'm upset for the environmental company that went bankrupt. Damn it.
Hey, thank you, Robin. I made the mistake of saying that last time we talked about this and got roasted by all the climate deniers and the flat earthers.
Shout out to Captain Planet.
Well, listen, even if we don't even include that stuff, if we just talk about the environment and the earth overall, I think we can all agree that the earth is a lot different place than it was. Think about what it was, the way it was when you were younger. It's a lot different, man.
Hey, Robin, which ring from Captain Planet did you have? I know you had one. You had the Earth ring? You had that Earth ring?
Captain Planet and the Planeteers?
Yeah, you did. That's okay.
Captain
We can move on.
Yo, I remember the Toxic Avenger.
That's way different. Way different vibe.
All right. AOH, can you read Carl Harv Super?
Carl Harv, thanks for the super. Good faith in investigation or targeted investigation from Pablo. His investigation seemed to be hitting on the coincidence lottery in hindsight. Yeah, maybe it wasn't good. I don't know. What was his... did he have a motivation for going after the Clippers, or was he just looking for anything to put him on the map? Or did he really catch wind of something and feel like it deserved to be exposed? I don't know. I really don't. So good for you for asking that. Good for you for asking that question.
It's hard to say.
Right. It's hard to say, man. But again, man, someone like Pablo Torre, again, who is he? You know, what kind of power does he have to go against these kinds of people and to really make anything stick? In that regard, as to what they found, they didn't find anything. They don't know what Pablo Torre is talking about apparently. So again, he's nobody.
Maybe that's what I liked. It was refreshing that someone had the nerve to even call out something like that.
No, right. Absolutely. I mean, the reality is anybody can be silenced. We all like to think that we're above it, but when you're dealing with people with millions and billions of dollars, they have clout you don't have. They have power you don't have. They can alter the course of your life if they choose to. And it's hard to stand up against because the reality is, in all likelihood, you will probably lose. So just even questioning it at any level shows, at least a measure of integrity.
Hey, with great power comes great responsibility. Has anyone seen Spider-Man ever? Like, what are we doing here?
Ever, I have, yeah.
Come on, man. We've seen Spider-Man, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, Speem, you want to read this super?
Shout out to it's not this government one, right? We just did that one.
Yeah.
Oh no, okay. Oh, okay. Shout out to L Donald 3211. Oh, $20. Wow. The NBA finding the Clippers innocent is like the government saying we investigated and found that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman. Yeah.
with the bullet that curved in the air.
Oh,
yeah, really.
Now, how do you investigate yourself? You can't investigate yourself. That's impossible, man. Like, I mean, this doesn't even make any sense. Again, when you talk about what these guys are alluding to, if someone finds something, we found it. They basically told everybody, like, nah, man, it was nothing that they found. We figured out the glitch. There was nothing, man. It was a misprint.
I thought there was a news headline that there was some shady business about the 76ers finding a different way to pay LeBron James than a straight up salary too. Does that ring a bell for anyone?
I have not heard that.
No, I must have missed that.
I'm not surprised. Space Jam 3.
I mean, the way Clutch Sports is running the Sixers, you think LeBron James secretly has some partial ownership in the franchise.
Well, I mean, given that they're all Clutch, he kind of does.
Yeah, the problem for Kawhi Leonard is like, dude, you're not on the court doing anything. You're not playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's on the court winning games, doing his thing, ultimately, a lot of this stuff no one even talks about, man. It doesn't even get brought up, man. But you out of here not doing a goddamn thing, and you over there cashing checks, and people's like, yo, what's this dude cashing all these checks for? What's he doing?
You know what? His journey has been an interesting one because it's like, yeah, he balled out for San Antonio. We all loved him for the Spurs. And then he brought that ring to Toronto, right? But he gets away with a lot of grace for somebody who, relatively speaking, relative to how much he does not play, really hasn't done enough. Not that anybody deserves it or warrants it, but he hasn't. It's weird to me that he still gets this amount of grace. Like, he should be dragged through the mud almost as much as any other player that's not playing right now. It's really weird.
I wonder how different things would be if he hadn't gotten that Toronto ring. And he's not if 3/4 of the Warrior team wasn't injured, he's not getting that Toronto ring. So like the way he's being treated right now might be completely different. Like Kawhi Leonard would essentially have disappeared after the San Antonio days.
But that's what makes it so interesting to me, because he is the only reason they have that ring. And the main reason they have that ring is because the Warriors were just riddled with injuries. And I know you play the team that's in front of you. But, man, he's been under the microscope for a long time now. And he's been getting this weird amount of grace. And I think part of it's because he's like a quiet dude and everyone knows him for having like that weird viral laugh moment. And he's signed a New Balance. He's just like a quiet dude. Right, exactly. Like maybe if he was a dick, people would drag him through the mud more. But I don't know. Like he's moving like somebody that gets away with stuff that just should not.
You know what's sad is, and it's our own fault, we chose these topics, but we haven't even talked about the game of basketball yet. And that's just the way the NBA is now. Right.
When do we? When do we? When do we get a chance to? It's almost never about basketball. And that starts with ESPN.
This allows me to address Fairy Dust with the super chat really quick. Hi guys, I'm curious to know if you will dive into the Lakers ownership. It's pretty shady. We actually opened with that. I'm sorry if you missed it, but I don't think we should rehash it.
No, definitely go back and watch it. But yeah, we certainly did address that for sure.
Thank you for the super chat, though.
Yes,
absolutely. Thank you for the super. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Number 3, it feeds into a few of your guys' recent videos. AOH, your most recent video in your membership section where you're talking about the Real Mind Crimes video. Robin, you were talking about this recently. Why do LeBron fans always have to lie? They can't just stand on facts. They can't just stand on the reality of situations. They have to lie about what LeBron has accomplished, and they have to try to diminish what Jordan actually did accomplish. I'm just curious about your guys' thoughts on that.
I just finished publishing another video to my members section, which is I was jumping on J-Boy's. I'm not sure how to say his channel, but he was calling out a fanboy who was lying again. Again, they're all about trying to diminish the past and shit all over Jordan while saying that no disrespect, which is also, tells you everything you need to know. But it comes down to, and I'm a little spent after cussing for 35 minutes on that video I just put out, but
that's fair.
It comes down to no consequences. And social media has provided a world where people can just turn on the camera, run their mouths, and have an audience, even if nothing that they said was true. Like, we are on social media and we are running our mouths, but we at least have the decency to look up the facts before we come on here and talk. And in fact, most of the time that we're talking, is to refute all the people that come on and talk without speaking facts. What are the consequences, man? I feel like these dudes would have gotten the shit beat out of them back in the day. Like, you paid a price for going around saying nonsense.
I think they would have, or I at least think at very minimum they would have been called out.
Well, like you guys said,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Cyberius.
Go ahead, man. I'm good.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like you guys said, like it's about the agenda. So these guys hear something from Nick Rice, Shannon Sharp, and it gives them the ability to go on the microphone and just repeat the same talking points that they just heard from one of their favorite guys. And when you talk about the agenda, they're only going to talk about and tell you about the things that they want to see, the things that they want you to hear, the things that they want you to see, because that fits their agenda and the narrative. Like we've said before, instead of them trying to educate you and give you some information, like they don't even bother to do the research and the homework. For that guy to come on that microphone and use that platform that he has and come out there and say that the Bulls won a certain amount of games before Jordan got there, when it takes 2 seconds to check that out, it doesn't take any effort for you to double check on those kinds of things. And why wouldn't you double check? Because it goes back to what your agenda is. I've told people on my channel, I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the perspective and the context based off of what I watched growing up, because I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to get you to believe Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. If you don't believe that, I don't give a damn. That's great. You don't have to believe that. But the one thing you can't tell me is that I'm lying for Michael Jordan to make him look greater than Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or Will Chamberlain or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to tear them down to lift Michael Jordan up. The very first debate that I did on YouTube was a Magic Johnson versus Michael Jordan debate. The guy that I debated was for Magic Johnson as the greatest player of all time. I debated Michael Jordan. Neither one of us tore down the other player to lift their player up. Once again, I told you the story before. We argued the greatness of our players individually versus the other player. That's not what the LeBron James fans have done.
Well, and that's one of the things that I highlighted in this image that I created is, but why do you have to invent fictions about Michael Jordan's era? Why can't you just celebrate LeBron without diminishing what Jordan actually accomplished? 6-for-6 finals record, defensive player of the year, MVP. It's not a lie. We didn't make it up. We didn't fabricate it. We're not trying to push an agenda. We're simply pushing facts.
Well, where it becomes intolerable, extra intolerable, is that not only do they lie about Jordan's past, but they fake criticize Jordan for things that LeBron is the epitome of. It's like, are you not watching the guy that you pretend to, or that you support? I mean, if I understand I'm speaking to a biased panel, but for the viewers, if you're not a LeBron fan, how many people wouldn't think of LeBron as the least loyal athlete ever? I mean,
not only that,
star level player, absolutely.
I mean, what he's done to franchises, what he's done to teammates, the people he's thrown under the bus, running when the going gets tough.
But even just from a character perspective, AOH, if you listen to any of the tenets that LeBron James stands on and just look at immediately and do 10 seconds of research, you'll find something that he's lying about or something that he is not standing on, even though he's building an entire legacy on it. Like, I think character-wise, even if you're not a LeBron James fan, how do you not look at how he moves as a human being, or look at how he moves within the context of his own profession, basketball, say one thing and do the complete 180? How do you look at an individual like that? Take the sport away from it. How do you look at it as a human being like that and not think like, ooh, like this is not someone worth following?
Well, the other thing that go ahead.
No, go ahead, Cyberius. Go.
The other part that has to be taken into consideration is it's so obvious, and all of you have pointed it out before. But these people haven't watched Jordan play. They make it blatantly obvious. They know nothing about his career. They know nothing about his accolades. They know nothing about his accomplishments. They simply parrot and repeat things that they heard another talking head say. And it was in that reaction that you did for the Real Mind Crimes video. Within the first 10 seconds, the guy had lied twice. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you just said that Jordan got dunked on. You don't even know what the fuck that means. How are you criticizing for somebody that if I asked you to articulate what getting dunked on means, you couldn't do it?
Right, exactly. I mean, like the way we used to feel about the players that we were watching when they were being mentioned and compared to the previous greats. I mean, think about how that would make you feel when they were talking about how Larry Bird had passed guys like Havlicek and Rick Barry and Elgin Baylor and Dr. J, and they were saying that was the greatest small forward. You were like, damn, Larry Bird's greater than all those guys. It made you think and feel a certain way when they were saying that Magic Johnson had surpassed guys like Bob Cousy and Oscar Robertson. He was the greatest point guard of all time. You were like, damn, I can't believe that they're actually saying that Magic Johnson is greater than these guys. That's where, you were like, damn, I can't believe this. This is insane. When they were saying, I told you, when I was growing up in the 90s, they were saying Karl Malone was the greatest, arguably the greatest power forward of all time, man. They were saying all these things about guys like Karl Malone, man. These guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, they were being talked about in the realms of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Bill Russells. We couldn't believe that these guys were being compared to guys like that. Not because they were trash. Oh, yeah, they played against white dudes. Why are we going to compare Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson to Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain and Wes Unseld and all the guys that played those positions back in those days? Why would they mention guys like George Mikan? You wouldn't know about these guys if they weren't that great. We wouldn't be impressed with those guys being compared to them. When they're saying, oh, man, Michael Jordan's past Jerry West. He's the greatest shooting guard. He's better than Iceman Gervin. He's better than all these other guys. You were impressed with that stuff.
Well, and another part is if you said that back in the day, because I absolutely heard those conversations, you had to bring the receipts. If you're going to have that conversation with somebody, you better know what the hell you're talking about, because they'll shut you down. They would clown you.
Well, you mentioned Nick Wright earlier. Why would anyone think that there are going to be consequences now when, in fact, you're being shown on television that you can actually be rewarded for talking out your ass and not being able to back it up?
It's true. It's true. I mean, they're
literally setting the example to people. Hey, don't tell the truth. Don't research. Just talk arrogantly, and you'll find an audience. And if it's entertaining to people, you'll have a form of success. You'll be a scumbag. You'll be a scumbag, but you'll have a following.
You have to start it with somebody had to say it, though, or I'm not going to lie, or to tell you the truth. As long as you start it with one of those statements, it is news breaking, it is earth shattering, and it doesn't matter if it's true.
To be honest with you,
I'm not even going to lie to you.
Unlike when I usually talk.
Like, what planet are we on? Who speaks like this? Who thinks it's acceptable to move through society saying these things? Like, what default setting are we on here?
Like, if you really cared about the sport of basketball, wouldn't you be curious to find out the actual truth? Wouldn't you care to actually do some actual research? And you can't just watch or look at the first article or video that pops up. You have to actually search through things. You know what I'm saying? It's like going through that old vintage vinyl record shop, man. You can't just grab the first record you see. You got to dig through the crates. You got to look through some things, man. You got to find some stuff sometimes, man. And when you're doing your research, sometimes you got to dig through the nonsense. You got to dig through the weeds, man. And you got to find the good stuff to look at, the good people to listen to. Because these people don't want to listen to the people that actually know more than them. And that's the problem in society overall, because everyone thinks they know everything. You got kids, they think they know everything. You know what I'm saying? We get all that stuff, but everyone now thinks they grow up and they're an expert on everything, man. Oh, yeah, I Googled this. Yeah, well, Google's wrong sometimes. I look at some stuff sometimes, some AI crap pops up. This crap is all wrong, man. It's all jacked up. Not everything that pops up is accurate. You have to look into this stuff, man. And these people don't care about that. You know why? Because they don't care about the goddamn sport. They only care about LeBron James, man. Michael Jordan fans are basketball fans. Basketball fans, man. Are there some crazy Jordan fans? Yeah, hell yeah, man. There's some crazy ones out there. Every fan base got their crazy fans, man. But you talk about how they feel about the game. They never tore down the history of the game to lift up Jordan. We never did that.
Nope. Think about the dangerous combination of people who weren't interested in reality in the first place, and now technology that allows you to create fake images. Like a lot of times you'll see these fanboys showing a poster of LeBron dunking on Jordan, and they never played each other. And you're talking about people who don't care about the truth, don't care about history, aren't going to research anything. And as the imagery gets better, they're going to be like, wow, whoa, I remember when LeBron dunked all over Jordan. It didn't happen, and it won't matter. They will literally start having a conversation about things that never took place. That's where we're heading.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Uncommon Sense just did a video about some guy talking about LeBron is playing for being the GOAT when he's 70.
Yeah.
Because all of the context will be lost. All of the narratives will be lost. All that will matter is the stat book. And because he played for so long, he'll be at the front of all of those stats. They won't look at the negative stats that he's also leading. They'll simply look at the positive stats. And I mean, is he playing, to be great later on? I don't know. Who the fuck cares, in all honesty? But it's a valid point. Because things things are forgotten in time. If you look back, Wilt Chamberlain is not revered as he used to be. In all honesty, and oftentimes he's now clowned because there's not much footage of him, because of the individuals that actually saw him are old or are gone. So there's nobody to keep spreading that information and make sure that information persists. And it will eventually happen with Jordan. I mean, the reality is it has in many capacities. He hasn't played in almost a quarter of a century.
Yo, what has LeBron? Go ahead. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, you're muted. You're muted.
Hello.
There you go.
So Sports and Fitness Rants has pointed out how important quality broadcasters were in the past, that they would provide some history of the game for people who are watching, so you could actually learn more about the sport. Today, instead of us learning from history and remembering history, they are revising history in order to live in a fake present and a fake future. Like, the past isn't valued, and we're not learning from it. In fact, they're trying to pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's true.
I was going to say before, what does LeBron James really put away in regards to his stats? When we talk about how long he continues to play and he's trying to, just outplay, Michael Jordan for the GOAT. He's just trying to play and play and play. But really, what does he put? Because LeBron James is lollygagging on the basketball court, because like we talked about, he's not doing the things necessary to really impact the games. Really, what does he put away? People say that no one's going to reach his point total. All right, maybe no one reaches point total, but regardless of that, what does he put away? Is he going to have the most assists of all time and put that record away and have all these rebounds? Is he going to put the rebound steals or block shots? Is he going to be so far and away, surpassed all these players in these stats? No, he's not. I mean, even all the triple doubles that they were celebrating LeBron James heavily for, more so than Jason Kidd when he was getting all the triple doubles. His triple doubles numbers got blown out the water by guys like Westbrook, Nikola Jokic. Speaking of Nikola Jokic, how close is he going to come to having more rebounds than LeBron James, more assists than LeBron James, or somewhere close to this stuff? LeBron James has missed a lot of games, man. So a lot of these things that he should have put in out of reach, he didn't. Even like we talk about the accolades. Dude, you should have 10 MVPs by now. You should have $1 billion all defense. All of these things you should have, but you don't have these things.
Real quick, I just want to get to some of these supers before I get too far behind. The Jesse Gladsack, thank you for coming through. LeBrick and his single-digit IQ standboys lie mandatorily and dwell in hypotheticals because they know his actual legacy is a paper tiger. I mean, Absolutely.
Right, exactly. Yep. Shout out to Jesse Glassag, always coming through.
All right, Vincent Garcia, thank you for coming through. Microplastics makes all these soy boys more effeminate, so they really are women in men's bodies. That's why they value feelings over facts. I mean, that's hard to dispute.
I mean, like I told you, man,
I mean, Vince Garcia coming through yet again. Thank you. It's also rage bait. That's how they get clicks.
I want to say something about the rage bait. I see that going around. That's the new replacement for trolling. People use rage bait a lot now. And sometimes they'll use in reference to, hey, why are you guys even talking about this? Or, don't even bother, disputing that or, giving that any energy because it's just rage bait. And I understand what people mean by that. The problem is, I told you guys before, they're lying. I don't care. It's not as if these people's truths are hurting my feelings and I'm being, raged. I'm being rage baited by the truth. And the truth is aggravating me because these guys won't stop. No, once again, the lack of context and the blatant lies. That's the problem here. And lies should anger you. It should anger everybody. It's not about rage baiting or not. It's not about wasting time or not. It's about, again, lying about a history that I gave the analogy before. If you worked a job for 15 freaking years, you retired from the job, right? You're not working there anymore. And now people are talking about you and the way you were at that job. That's not accurate. They're saying that you were late to work every day. And they're saying that your reports at work were never on time and all these other things. But that wasn't accurate. That wasn't true. But people are starting to say this about you. Wouldn't that bother you? Wouldn't that make a difference to you? And that's what you got going on right now. These guys work jobs, man. All these guys I watched, these guys even before I watched the game, they're working a job. And now people are coming all these years later who never saw them work that job, never were around for the work that they did and how they did that work, the conditions they worked under, none of this stuff. These people come around all these years later, and now they're going to sit there and try to tell me that those guys didn't really do those kinds of things. That's not what's really going on. This is how they did it. These were the kinds of conditions they played on. Oh, Michael Jordan didn't face zones. They couldn't double team Michael Jordan now. All of a sudden, Scottie Pippen was doing all these crazy things that I never saw in the goddamn video footage.
It's true. It's true. Fairy Dust coming through again. Thank you very much. The greatness of Michael Jordan is he doesn't have to do social media to stay prevalent 30 years later and shout he's the greatest. LeBron knows he will fade like a ghost.
I hope you're right.
That's why he keeps going, because he's scared to fade away.
Yeah, can't run away from the fame.
I will say the one thing that actually gives me hope is just recently I had one of my subscribers tell me in the comments that I converted his cousin. His cousin was a fanboy, and after watching my content, he now is seeing LeBron for what he is. It has to happen.
Yep.
Between all of the content that all of us make, it has to get through occasionally.
You would think.
And it may not be every person. It may not be every time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had just as many stupid fuck fanboy comments in my comment section as well. But to know that one person was changed by the videos that I make, that's worth it.
Absolutely. Everything's, man, listen, man, you part of the fight. It's about being part of the fight, standing up, man. Once again, everyone out here, everyone in the chat, everyone that supports our channels, everyone's involved in this. Set the record straight, stop the lies and narratives, man, because that's what it's about. All right. And that's what people need to understand, man. People are like, oh, y'all just some LeBron haters or y'all just some haters, this and that. Again, hate is the new term when you don't have anything to dispute. When you can't dispute me, that's the word you use. That's your go-to, man. And that's what we're out here doing, man.
Armando Ruiz coming through. Thank you. There was once a guy named Michael, us in 30 years. I hope that's not the case. I mean,
we're doing it now.
The one
30
thing
years
that
we're doing this shit now
that Wilt didn't have is there is an archive of footage. There's not really an archive of footage of Wilt. There's very limited access to that. Otherwise, I think he would be more relevant, because the reality is I would make more content on it if there was more footage of it to show.
I know, but we're having this conversation because these are people who are happy to live in a reality while looking away from evidence. Like, we could probably have Jordan in HD, and if they don't want to look at it, they're not going to look at it. It's what being a cult member is about.
I think we're living in times where if Michael Jordan beat LeBron James one-on-one at his age right now, LeBron's fans would find a way to negate it. They would tell you that because they turned on CERN, because they turned on the Hadron Collider in Switzerland, that we're in a new reality. And that's why we're in the reality where Michael Jordan can beat LeBron James. And that's not the real reality, and strive for greatness. And he's a great father. And they'll just deny it. If it physically happens now, today, they'll find a way. They'll figure it out.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on from this. Let's talk about KD says MVPs are more important than rings.
All right. This was mine also, and I hope we don't spend very much time on it. But I want to open up by saying that this was on Fred Van Vliet's podcast. So before we even get to what KD had to say, why the fuck is there a Fred Van Vliet podcast? How many podcasts do we effing need? And who is Fred Van Vliet to think that he gets to host a podcast of existing players? Yeah, I don't want any of them to have podcasts, but maybe you should at least have played in recent history. Like, Fred Van Vliet has been dead since the Raptors championship, as far as I'm concerned.
I think
he's still active, though. I think he's still he's hurt, right? At least let's.
Yeah, no, he's not retired. He just doesn't play.
Yeah,
like most of them.
Not like Podcast P. he never plays, and he's active.
It's so unjust that LeBron wasn't forced to play with Podcast P. They should have. He got out of it.
It's a shame.
Anyway, I know a lot of content creators have already said this very obvious bit, but KD really thought he dropped some wisdom when he pointed out that there's one MVP, as if there's multiple championships per season. Like, you fucking moron. MVPs are more valuable than championships because there's only one MVP a season. There's only one championship a season. I could actually add to that argument by pointing out that there are multiple MVPs and forms of MVPs. And as I'm sure you guys will pile on, the MVP itself has become sort of questionable. Anyway.
We just talked about it last week.
Yeah. We really don't have to spend time on this unless you guys want to, but just throwing it out there really quick. What exactly happened to Kevin Durant, dude?
I'm hovering around the idea of actually selling all the sneakers I have of his, and there's plentiful. He's out of control between this and his little bullshit post to Russell Westbrook's retirement. He's just such a piece of shit. I'm tired of this whole, I just want to hoop. I don't care about anything else but basketball. I'm not going to brush my hair. I'm not going to put lotion on. I'm not going to do. I just want to ball. Blah blah blah. Like, it's tiresome. Like, Kevin Durant. I used to love because it looks like he loves playing basketball, right? Like, but lately he just ever since he got caught with the burner on Twitter, and he's so wrapped up in this persona of someone that doesn't care. He has to care. I still remember him calling his mom the real MVP. Like that's the dude I knew playing basketball. All this other bullshit, I think, is a facade. Like, I truly believe that. I think it's a weird pre-menstrual thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem real to me with him.
It could be a little bit of the Shaq effect, that you're realizing that you made mistakes in your career and it's starting to eat away at you. And so you have to verbalize that you're better than you were instead of your actual career speaking for itself. Yeah, which is a weird thing to say about Shaq because his career was insane. But,
yeah.
But he still did some questionable shit, and I think it eats away at him.
I mean, I think that's an excellent point. I think that has to play a role in it.
There's no reason for Shaq to act as insecure as he does,
right?
If it isn't eating away at him inside.
Right. And there's every reason for Kevin Durant to act insecure, because without Curry, he knows he doesn't have rings because he's tried how many times and failed?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Shaq, he hears all the noise about how he didn't get the most out of himself, right? I'm sure Shaq hears, oh man, Shaq could have been top 10 or, like top 5 of the greatest of all time, and all these things that people say that Shaq could have been. So I think he hears that, now, and he likes to compensate, by saying I'm the most dominant, I was the most dominant, I was the most dominant. So I think that's part of Shaq's problem. Like you said, the insecurities, I think you're on the money as far as Kevin Durant, because really, when did you see Kevin Durant really start to go crazy and start to go at people on social media? Is when people started to knock his finals MVPs and his championships, as not really respected, as fraudulent, as having to ride Steph Curry's coattails. That burns Kevin Durant the same way Isaiah Thomas is burned, that Michael Jordan never responds to him. Right? A lot of these guys are burned by certain things. You could tell, man. They're just so, like I said, it's really crazy how they're supposed to be grown up. You thought they would have moved on from these situations or whatever the case may be. But really, they're holding on to a lot of this stuff. And for Kevin Durant to come out and talk about, and I feel like these comments he made maybe last year or during the season, maybe. I don't know when these comments were made. But I remember hearing something about this a while back. And when you think about Fred VanVleet, you mentioned Fred VanVleet. I don't know what the dynamic is between those guys, because Fred VanVleet missed the whole season. Kevin Durant missed the entire playoffs, essentially. What did Kevin Durant do for the Rockets, man? All this stuff to me is hilarious, that you have time for all these podcasts, but you're not doing anything on the court. You're not on the court doing anything, but you're on the podcasts. That's when these guys look stupid.
Can we talk about
Robin? It's even. Go ahead, AOH.
Kevin Durant faked 2 different injuries these playoffs.
Yeah.
That aren't even injuries. Like, even if they've been real, those aren't injuries. And that's what he brought to the Rockets, in addition to having burner accounts that undermined the team chemistry and confidence in them. That's one of the reasons that it was the perfect matchup for the Lakers in that first round. I mean, those guys were kind of in shambles. Now, why is a guy who just did that to you still on the effing team? Yeah.
But not only that, AOH, yet again, another perfect circumstance for LeBron James going up against that team in the first round with Durant just happening to be hurt. I never thought about the injury being fake. I always thought it was just him being an asshole or a bitch. But right. But either way, it just goes back to how many more coincidences do people need to see before you realize that the fix isn't?
Right.
Anyway.
I mean, listen, if you know what it makes me think about also is, if you think about this overall, really what this speaks to is one of the things that we mentioned about this era. Remember, Kevin Durant's supposed to be one of the greatest players of his era. He's not one of the great players. He's one of the greatest players of his era. He's supposed to be a top 2, top 3 player of his era, Kevin Durant. They promote him above guys like Steph Curry. They promote him right there with LeBron James. They promote him as the greatest scorer of all time, the most efficient scorer of all time. So when you think about Kevin Durant, and it speaks to his lack of competitiveness overall, and really what he's playing for, what his aim is on the basketball court, he don't got no fire inside of him like that. Like you guys say, yeah, I want to go out there and just hoop. Now you want to go out there and just play your game, worry about your field goal percentage, worry about MVPs and personal accolades, not necessarily winning a championship. That's why you'll make comments like this. So when you think about LeBron James and the era overall, this is part of LeBron James' competition, where they talk about how stiff LeBron James, he had to play against the Warriors with Kevin Durant. Oh, yeah, exactly. The same Kevin Durant that worries about MVPs instead of championships. Guys like Hakeem Olajuwon got upset. He took offense to guys like David Robinson win the MVP because MVPs matter to these guys, but it ain't the only thing. It ain't the most important thing. He took it personal in the playoffs when it mattered most. Right? Did Kevin Durant take it personal when he didn't get the MVP in 2016 and Steph Curry won his back-to-back MVPs? Did he go out there? No, he blew a 3-1 freaking lead.
And the lack of fire can come from many sources. For example, Kevin Durant's failings aren't hurting him getting paid. And he gets paid additionally to go on podcasts and make excuses for his failings rather than just go out and prove it on the court. And not only does he not have to prove it on the court to disprove his critics, he doesn't have to prove it on the court to get paid. He has an extension, 26-27. He's going to get paid almost $44 million by the Rockets after the shit that he pulled. 27-28, he's going to make $46 million from the Rockets. So yeah, no wonder Kevin Durant doesn't feel a fire to prove himself anymore. He's fine.
Yo, let's be real, man. Kevin Durant been washed for a minute. He been done for a minute, Kevin Durant. Whether you want to say it was after the injury, whatever you want to say, Kevin Durant is done, man. What he does at a high level, he's continuing to do the same thing. That's what he does. He was never a great defensive player, never a rebounder, never a leader. I mean, your leadership sucks. Like, leadership is a skill you can hone. You can become better at leadership. Yeah, maybe you're never going to be Bill Russell, but you can become a better leader. You can become more of a grown-ass man. You never became that. You're still a punk-ass dude.
Can I ask a question before we switch topics? Based off Robin talking about KD being an all-time player, where do you guys on the panel and the chat, where do you guys have both LeBron and KD all time? I never thought about KD all time until Robin just brought that up.
I don't have all-time lists. I just know that LeBron isn't in my top 50.
Is KD in your top 50? And we can move on past this, but Robin mentioning that just made me really think to myself. I don't think I have
LeBron, above and below.
I have to still have him below LeBron.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I would put Kevin Durant below LeBron James.
I have to.
The funny thing is, and the interesting thing, like we talked about with LeBron James, is that there's arguments for Kevin Durant above LeBron James. So when you talk about, these rankings and some of the stuff we talked about, Kevin Durant has the argument over LeBron James based off of the head-to-head matchups in the finals that LeBron James directly did not step up and take. Listen, man, 2017, there's no excuses, man. LeBron James ain't playing no goddamn defense against that dude, man. The Cavaliers had a legit shot winning that championship.
The icing on the cake shots in those games were Durant in LeBron's mug.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Real quick, I just need to get to some of these supers before I get too far behind. Amanda Ruiz coming through again. Jordan in HD is basketball porn. Hashtag MJ Hub.
Word. Shout out to Amanda Ruiz.
Carl Harp coming through. Again, the KD you expected versus what we have now started when he trained with LeBron in the summer when ESP showed them with their shirts off. The shirts off seemed to be weird in the setting. It was.
Kevin Durant with his shirt off ever.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Carl Harp coming through yet again. Thank you. Since then, no one should have trusted this dude. This was around the 2012 timeframe, if I recall. Yeah. QB to LB, Sports and Fitness Rants. If you say whatever the case may be one more time, we're going to have to call you LeBron. LeBron Robin James.
That's fighting words.
Walking away.
Damn, man. Why y'all got to do me like that?
All right, Carl Harp coming through again. Wow, you are being very generous today. Matter of fact, he just got screwed by LeBron in the finals and then immediately goes and trains with him. There isn't enough money on earth for me to do that if I were in his shoes.
I would like to say another detail. We all know that LeBron James's Olympic MVP is fraudulent, and most people talk about Steph Curry being the deserving recipient. But what you're forgetting is LeBron wasn't even a number two. Like, I would have given it to Durant second, and other people. Like, it's really questionable. Like, the best excuse that they came up with was saying LeBron was the glue, and he wasn't glue. He would dribble down, get stuck, and need somebody to bail his ass out. And plus he got away with just shoving other people during international competition to the ground without foul calls. It was,
but
it was really
he held the flag, AOH. He held the flag on that ship.
Oh God,
it was a powerful moment. Yeah, I was like, come on, strive for greatness.
And he was one of the stars not tested.
Whatever the case may be.
Shout out to whoever super chat that was that talked about them being with their shirts off, like for a weird reason. I was just I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, they're always walking around with their shirts off, and it always feels out of place. I never thought about it until that chat, and it's always weird. Shout out to that person. It is always for no reason. What are you doing?
You're right.
All right, Vincent Garcia coming through yet again. Thank you so much. If somehow, some way it breaks that LeBron is on steroids his whole career, does the NBA keep him out of the Hall of Fame like MLB did for steroids era MLB?
I feel like we've answered this many times. They will justify it. I mean, listen, if they were interested in his guilt, they would be testing him. Like it. Fanboys themselves, when they don't realize the consequences of their words, are the ones who will say LeBron needs to be tested after that play because they think it's so impressive. And yet, LeBron does need to be tested.
He wasn't tested at the Olympics.
Right. Exactly.
They didn't test that fucker for COVID during COVID. What are we talking about here? They don't test him for anything.
Despite him leaving and coming back.
Despite him leaving to go to a Jay-Z party.
Yep. But
during COVID. During COVID. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? It's like a movie at this point.
It is. I mean, it's scripted as a movie.
Yeah, things of that nature. Come on.
TCWM7RJ coming through with the $20 super thanks. Wow, that's very generous. I appreciate you guys for the excellent content. Well, thank you. We appreciate your supers.
Mario, shout out to TC. Hey, shout out to all you guys out there, man. Again, man, I see a lot of people in the chat. As always, you guys always add to the lives. Boom Shakalaka. A shout out to you, Prozac. Hey Weller. Again, Dash Hoost. Redhead for life. Thank you very much for you guys. Callie Young, the guest MC, Mad Dog, KD Ladner 93. Again, thank you guys.
Yes, big thank you for those supers. Thanks everybody who's tuning in, and thanks Cyberius for hosting. I think you're doing a great job hosting Wednesday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been trying to find a way to improve the show each week. And, see what I can do to add some more interest, some more content to it. So I appreciate that.
Have you thought about removing Speam from the panel?
Go ahead. Yeah, no, throw the ratio all out of whack. Go ahead.
We'll put you on a time limit. We'll do 30 minutes.
Throw the minority ratio all out of whack. On here. Yep. Yeah, I listen. Speam, I know when I'm the token. It's cool.
Love. I was gonna say here's one of the things that you wanted to talk about.
Look at this bullshit, yo. I mean,
yes, we gotta talk about this. I want to talk about
this. Thank you, Cyberius. Look at this.
Oh my god.
So can you put that? Okay, yeah. What's so troublesome about this? One of the things is that Patrick Beverley is forever touted as like this diehard defender, one of the last of a dying breed, blah, blah, blah. And I think most people that watch basketball know that he's just kind of like this goblin that just gets under people's skin and intentionally hurts Russell Westbrook and gets like, I think he is just the tough guy in a weak era. But what's worrisome about this is no universe would anybody with any common sense take Ja Morant of all guards over John Stockton. Even if you've never watched a game of basketball before and you look at pure numbers, how do you bring this up? A. B, when you look at success, how do you bring this up? What has Ja Morant ever done in the NBA for Patrick Beverley to say something like this?
I mean, why don't you have to have had some success before you get to talk? And two, the detail of I would take, but look at the detail. I'd take Ja over Stockton on the Jazz, not period, but on the Jazz. And that really puts the nail in the coffin, because the Jazz were so successful.
Yeah.
A large part because of the way that Stockton executed that pick and roll with him and Malone. You think Ja is going to be able to execute that in the way that Stockton did? Even if we don't talk about athleticism or anything else, we're talking about what made the Jazz work. Ja doesn't fit into that particular piece.
He barely fits in the basketball. AOH. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. He barely fits in within the guidelines of basketball. It's frustrating because he doesn't do anything to change that. And Jeff Hornacek, Karl Malone, John Stockton, these guys were responsible for like an entire generation of men turning off their TVs on Sunday at 2:00 because they didn't want to sit and watch that boring fucking pick and roll that you just talked about. But guess what? It was successful as hell. The only reason John Stockton doesn't have a ring is because he ran into the greatest player of all time. The only reason. So the fact that John Morant, his name is brought in with somebody of that acumen, what do we know John Morant for? Dunks, right? What do we know more than that? His celebration, his ill-advised celebration, his off-the-court antics, like all the things, again, outside of basketball. So for Patrick Beverley, this journeyman of a player who I thought was worth his salt, for him to say something like this, just another player that I'm disappointed in, but also I tread lightly because I'm aware that he's saying it for shock value. I know that that's what people do, but at some point there has to be another structure in place to be able to like navigate that and speak to that without giving it the attention that it wants. But this is, again, more dangerous talk coming from former athletes that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we might have kids out here saying, I'd rather play the guard. I'd rather run the pick and roll with John Morant than John Stockton. It's weird. It's very troubling.
Now, when you think about what John Morant said, and you guys made some great points, especially about John Morant and Patrick Beverley, and basically should know better, dude. You play in the league, this is what we're talking about. When you think about what John Morant said, he said a couple of different things here. AOH, you pointed out some of the detail with the Utah Jazz thing, and him saying that he would, what he said was that the Chicago Bulls would have to make adjustments to John Morant if you put him on the Utah Jazz in place of John Stockton. He said that, he would run circles around John Stockton. That was one of the details that he says. Because again, what I've told you guys, it's not always what they say, it's how they say it, man. When you say that he would run, quote unquote, run circles on John Stockton, what you're trying to imply is that there's some kind of gap between John Stockton and John Morant. So one of the details he mentioned that you hit on, AOH, was the Utah Jazz mention, which I thought was interesting. He also mentioned the reason why he would run circles around someone like John Stockton was because of the athleticism, the speed, the quickness, the jumping ability. He also said in the same quote that he would, quote unquote, jump over John Stockton. So this is what I talk about when you talk about the hyperbolic statements, the exaggerations, right? And again, not giving you the full picture and educating you on who actually John Stockton was.
Look, as a dude who has dunked twice in his entire life, I'm a little bit biased to point out that the other aspects of basketball are important, but they are important. Like Ja's jumping ability doesn't change whether or not your team is going to be successful. You look at the Utah Jazz, and a lot of people, and this is the reason that I went back and I enhanced the old footage, was to sit and watch what is it that caused these guys to beat physically superior opponents, or at least in our minds, physically superior opponents. The game of basketball is beautiful. The movement of the ball is beautiful. The strategy and execution is beautiful. It's not just about who is bigger and can jump higher. There's more to it than that. And that doesn't mean I don't appreciate a thunderous dunk, and I don't appreciate guys that can take off from beyond the foul line. I do. But that's not all there is to success in basketball.
Right.
Well, and also, like, why are they just glossing over the fact that Stockton is so incredibly fundamentally sound? Was he incredibly athletic? No. Did he set screens like brick walls? Yes. He was also
I've seen
little
some
bit
footage of
dirty.
Stockton crossing up some people that you wouldn't have thought that he would.
No, absolutely. I mean, as Robin pointed out in his video, Gary Payton said that he would rather face John Stockton than Michael Jordan. Because John Stockton is going to get to his spots and he's going to deliver. Plus, you have to worry about him passing. Plus, you have to worry about him stealing the ball. He was also a great defender, which
he
I don't
said
think
he'd rather face.
enough.
You mean he said he'd rather face Jordan than Stockton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you said it.
Oh,
backwards.
no, I reversed it.
Okay.
That's my stupid ass brain.
Damn brain.
Also, I was going to say Stockton played 82 games 16 times.
Yep.
The most games that Morant has ever played was 67, and he did it one time. And then he played 61 games one time. And then he
but his celebrations are awesome, Cyberius. You don't know what you're talking about. You see how he threw a grenade in the crowd? That's what the kids want to see.
No, it's not Pierce, man. You're on the money with that stuff, man. When you talk about the games played and the durability, the toughness, that speaks to John Stockton's grit. When we use the word grit, we've used it many times on these live shows. That's true grit. That's what you see. You think John Stockton wasn't hurting? You think his freaking knees weren't hurting? You think his big toe wasn't all swollen and jacked up? You think he ain't had no damn pain in his ankles? You think his back wasn't hurting? You think he didn't have personal problems going on at home with his kids or his wife or some freaking body? Maybe his mama was sick or something? I don't freaking know. These guys play through this stuff, man. They showed the hell up, man. And that's what Cyberius is pointing to. The willingness of John Stockton to show up to work every single night and be that floor general. When you think about what Patrick Beverley's doing here, you're doing a disservice to the NBA overall because you're mentioning someone, John Morant, who does not deserve to be mentioned with John Stockton. He just doesn't. If you like John Morant, great. Say you like John Morant. If I was starting a team, I'd take John Morant. Then great. Take that. You ain't going to go nowhere, but take the goddamn John Morant then. That's great. But for you to sit there and actually compare him and put him on that level and then say, in fact, you would take him over that guy. Think about what you're saying here. He literally says, yeah, if you put Morant on the Jazz against the Bulls in the finals, how the hell they get into the finals, my man? They're not going to be in the goddamn finals with John Morant and not John Stockton. And that's the goddamn point you're missing when you make a statement like that. Yeah, put him on the Jazz in the finals, the Bulls will be in trouble. This man literally said that Ron Harper wouldn't be able to guard John Morant. They'd have to put Rodman and Pippen and Jordan on it.
All right. Too much about Patrick Beverley. What a fucking idiot.
This is not about Patrick Beverley, AOH. This is about what he's saying about this is about John Stockton, AOH.
I know, but it's depressing.
No, AOH, you get it twisted sometimes, man. And you start to talk about somebody who said something. It's not about who said it. It's about what they freaking said, man. And for him to throw out John Stockton's name and for us to not have these discussions and set the freaking record straight here, there's the problem. We have to understand this, and people need to spend time. This needs to be talked about because when you mention John Stockton and what he was doing on the basketball court, and he talks about the athleticism, and he says, oh, John Stockton would get circles run around him, he'd jump over him. As if what you're saying there is John Stockton never in his life guarded an athletic point guard. He never guarded no black dudes. He never guarded nobody with some funk in his game. He never guarded Kevin Johnson. He never guarded Rod Strickland or Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas or Tim Hardaway or Penny Hardaway or Terry Porter. He never guarded any of these freaking guys, Gary Payton that we mentioned. Get the frick out of here, man. This is freaking nonsense. When you talk about the athleticism, man, and we talk about some of these guys that get downgraded, why do they get downgraded? Because John Stockton's a white dude. That's ultimately what this came down to. So he don't got the quickness, the speed, none of these things. I mentioned Dan Marley. I put a poll out earlier, a couple of weeks ago, and I said, did Dan Marley, in fact, lead the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals in 1993 in blocked shots? And it was true. Dan freaking Marley, who they knock and tell you was no athlete, can't do XYZ. He led the Phoenix Suns in blocks in the finals at 13, at over 2 a game. But he's just some white dude that couldn't do nothing, that went against Jordan.
Got all that? Goofs. Telling you. Goofs. All of them. Goofs. I'm kind of tired of looking at John Morant's effeminate haircut. We can move on.
All right, let's do that. Here, I'm going to get to some supers. We just had a bunch of them roll in.
Someone call 911 for Robin, please.
Red Factor 216.
I
Stephen A. Smith actually tried to convince the public that Kevin Durant is better than Larry Bird. Bird's toughness alone clears KD. It's a joke. It is. And I was disgusted when he said that.
Stephen A. Smith just becomes a bigger joke by the day.
DDLI7CU coming through. Hard to have respect for anybody in current NBA except Brunson. Curry would add Wemby and Joker and a few others. LeBron comes last for sure. I'm not even sure.
I guess
if
the panelists
on that list
aren't as up on Wemby as I am. I feel like I brought him up a couple weeks ago, and you guys weren't as up on Wemby as I thought everybody was.
I respect.
I just let it go because Cyberius really doesn't like him.
I don't.
Okay. What is it that you don't like about him, Wemby? I know what you don't like about Steph. What is it that you don't like about Wemby?
He's everything that I don't like about the modern NBA.
Everything?
Yeah, it's just very surprising.
I would
to
say
hear you say that.
Most things. Okay, I'll qualify it and say most things. He's a big guy that falls down a lot. Is he flopping or is he clumsy? Who the fuck knows? He's
That's
still
fair.
on the ground.
That's true.
Does he really
listen,
fall down a
Shake
lot?
hands after losing. No, he did not.
Listen, I think as part of for me with some of these guys, I've told you is other things like, yeah, maybe your game might be whatever, but maybe like I said, you wear weird outfits to the games or your personality is off. Like you're just a goofy ass dude. I'm grown up, man. I can't get behind some of these goofy ass dudes that don't grow up that act the same year after year. So, when you talk about some of this stuff, man, yeah, Wembanyama, for example, it's not just about him or me having a problem with him necessarily, but it's about how he's promoted that I don't get. That's why I just don't get it. Like when they were saying about the alien stuff, I was getting aggravated with the alien talk because it was basically in reference to his height, but it really wasn't in reference to him being an actual alien and how you would think about an alien overall. You know what I'm saying? The same thing we talked about, with the promotion of Wembanyama. So they'll say, I've heard people say he's the first perfect big man. I can't get on board with these kinds of, statements this early in his career. So you make me feel a certain way about how you're promoting him. Yeah, I want to see the guy do good. I'm not rooting against him. But at the same time, I can't listen to you tell me that he's the first perfect big man in NBA's history when the man hasn't sniffed playing 82 games once.
Robin, can I ask you a question to that? I never knew your stance on this. Can I ask you a question to that? If he is not the closest to maybe the next potential face of the league, because I do think that's why the NBA puts him up there like that, to your point, is there anybody that they should be like hoisting up there like that you feel like deserves it if you feel like Wemby does not? Which I agree with as you're saying it. Is there anybody that you feel like does deserve being hoisted and promoted like how he's being promoted?
I don't have any problem with Wembanyama being promoted as the face of the league. That's not what this is about for me. I was just saying as far as how they promote him as already as one of the all-time greats already. Like, you talk about he was on that list by the Bleacher Report as far as the top defenders. He was like number 30-something already. Like, goddamn, this is what I'm talking about. Like, how are you already above guys that were out there doing it for years and years and years? How are you being called the first perfect big man after you only played 2 full seasons, right, and you were in the middle of your 3rd season and you still missed all these games? You're not the first perfect big man. I mean, like I said, we're making these stretches think about it. They were calling the Thunder before last year. They were calling them, oh my God, this team might be as great as Chicago Bulls in 96. They were out there pumping this team up already. Like they were going to win 3 championships in a row. So once again, that's my problem with this stuff. The historical aspect and perspective they try to put out there.
What if Wemby breaks his leg this offseason and never plays another game again? Does Bleacher Report need to remove him from that list? Because he can't have done enough in his career to be on a list like that. And if that's true, then he shouldn't be on it yet. So I agree with Robin on that. But the other thing is that
Agreed.
we shouldn't be taking Bleacher Report seriously at all. So,
I mean, I did several videos this season on Cooper Flag. And I think I see some of you guys mentioning Cooper Flag in the chat. I think I might have seen Uncut Hoops actually, some of you guys out there. Shout out to you guys in the chat who keep coming through. And I did several videos on Cooper Flag in his overall game and what he was attempting to accomplish that season, leading his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, like a Michael Jordan. Now, he ended up missing several games last season. But when you talk about him being on the court, I told when people were starting to knock his production early in the season, I said the thing that I was most impressed with Cooper Flag is that he was available every game. He was out there playing every night. So much respect to him. I mean, even if you think about the Rookie of the Year battle between him and Con Knuckle last season, that's good for the NBA. That was good for the league last year.
I also have a problem with the fact that a lot of my issue with Wemby is how he's being touted. How he was being touted before he got into the league, and now how he's being touted now that he's in the league, being a unanimous defensive player of the year. Well, who the fuck are you going against? You're playing, you're the best defender in the weakest defensive era ever. That's not a fucking flex. That is an indictment of the NBA and its defensive prowess at this time because it's weak as hell.
Right. I mean, yeah. Great, Speed.
No. Well, I was gonna say, do you have character issues with him too, Cyberius? Don't you?
I do.
Like how he acted, not shaking hands, because it was you. All three of you guys actually in the chat kind of put me on game with that. I didn't realize he acted as I don't want to say classless, but I'll say classless, as classlessly as he did, not shaking hands and just kind of walking off the court. I didn't realize that at the time.
Anyways, we've done this conversation a few times.
I want to get to more of these supers. Like I said, they just keep coming in. Also want to shout out Seth Rotol for being a member of, I don't know whose channel because it doesn't tell me.
Seth Ro.
I
think it's me.
I think it's you. I do think it's AOH.
I'm glad you're still around, Seth Ro.
Vince Garcia coming through 440 joules with the Unk alert.
Yo, shout out to Vicente Garcia, always coming through, dropping the jewels for us. Again, man, thank you very much, all you guys out there in the chat, man. Machiavelli the Don, I see you. Yo, King. Once again, thank you guys.
Fairy Dust coming through yet again with 10 joules.
Fairy Dust. Sprinkling a little fairy dust on us.
Okay, I got to move past that. Shout out to Woodage and King's Beach Row also.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing you guys in the chat.
Amanda Rue is coming through again. I'd take Mark Price over Jaw any day, without question. That's not even up for debate.
Yeah.
Carl Harv coming through yet again. What's Beverly's obsession with Stockton? Seems odd.
Yeah, yo, shout out to Carl Harv for coming through again. And I mean, see, this really shows you how great these guys really were. That's really the ultimate, point here when you talk about
Carl.
these guys. The problem is they bring them up because they're so great. So you think about John Stockton's name. He's like, yeah, you know what? Let me compare him to John Stockton because John Stockton's a legend. He's not going to compare him to like Jason Williams. He's not going to say Mark Price. He's going to say, yeah, let me compare him to John Stockton because that name rings bells. The problem is, again, you're not bringing up John Stockton to actually give him some props and some respect. You're bringing him up to use him as a stepping stool, or some kind of platform to lift up, John Moran to a level that he doesn't deserve to be at.
And not for nothing, he might have been race baiting a little bit too. Not for nothing. I wouldn't put it above Patrick Beverly to race bait.
I told you.
I mean, that may be true, but you also have to consider that it, again, even if it's not intentional, it's diminishing the competition of Jordan.
Right.
If I can
now, is this an ongoing thing?
Is better.
Because Carl Harv's question, he calls it an obsession, makes me think that he's done it before.
Oh yeah, that's what I have to assume.
Yeah, he's mentioned Stockton before on his podcast or whatever he does. I don't know what he does, Patrick Beverly. But a lot of these, I mean, we even remember Gilbert Arenas brought up John Stockton a couple of years back. As a matter of fact, Gilbert Arenas actually came to my channel crying and moaning about a video I did in response to that John Stockton nonsense. So John Stockton has been a target from some of these guys, and we understand why. But again, you're not putting respect on the game because John Stockton, again, went out there and earned it. It's not like fake. What John Stockton did is not fraudulent.
Right. Of all point guards to attack, you go at John Stockton. That makes no sense. And what makes it even worse is it's blasphemous when it's coming from another guard. Like I can't imagine. Chris Paul was just talking about how the small point guard is being erased. I cannot imagine a student of the game like Chris Paul saying something crazy like that about John Stockton. And I can't stand Chris Paul, but there's certain guards or certain players where it's just like you make a comparison like that, you're better than that. Like that's like D Wade saying something about Jordan. Like if it's your position, then you should speak with a certain level of respect. And Patrick Beverley saying that about John Stockton is just, I don't know. It's a reflection of his character.
I agree. Real quick, shout out to Uncut Hoops if he's still in the chat. He did a video, I think it was probably a few months ago now, maybe even longer, but there were people that were trying to attack the validity of Stockton's steals and assists, saying that his numbers were inflated. So he actually did a number where he was breaking down game footage, and it was showing that his numbers are actually deflated, not inflated. Mm-hmm. That he wasn't getting credit for assists, that he wasn't getting credit for steals. And it's an absolutely fantastic video. You should certainly go and check it out. But there are people that are constantly trying to tear down Stockton and trying to say, oh, well, he was only able to do this because of this. Always putting a qualifier on it, trying to take away from what he did, the era that he did it in, and for the length of time at which he did it at such a high level.
Right.
Maybe, I mean, he's pretty stereotypically white looking, but I wonder if the real issue is that he criticized LeBron's path. He had the LeBron took a helicopter to the top thing. So he may have made himself a target because how dare you point out things that are real?
That's very possible.
No, you're right, AOH, and that's a great point that you bring up as far as him saying, talking about the helicopter. That's very important, again, because this is part of the problem for the LeBron James fans. When you go on the offensive or the defensive in this instance against someone like John Stockton, and again, you try to attack his career. John Stockton's career is bulletproof, man. You can't talk about John Stockton and try and tear him down and talk about these things. When you mention longevity and you talk about how long John Stockton played, he didn't just play for a long time. He played consistently. He was always there. LeBron James has played for a long time, but he ain't been there consistently. He missed a lot of games, man, on that back half of that career.
You guys see I did a video on this. You guys see the footage when Chris Webber intentionally laid John Stockton out and hoping to intimidate him?
Yes.
And Stockton caught his breath and then hopped back up. But you can see Stockton for a second on the ground, like, God damn, that was a fucking hit. But he got right back up, And today's player.
Apparently, what happened after that is he patted him on the ass and said, "Nice screen."
Yeah.
Which just and look at all the thunder out of you knocking him on his ass.
And look at John Stockton. He's built like every man. Like you don't hear about him spending $7.6 billion a year on his body and, him being at the gym at 5:16 in the morning. The dude just looks like a dude, right? And just, by the way, led the league in steals, assists, would have a ring. So, yeah, I wouldn't say bulletproof. The only reason he's not bulletproof, Robin, is because of the greatest player of all time, which, again, speaks to the further greatness of Michael Jordan.
Listen, it's bulletproof in the regard to what I'm saying as far as John Stockton being a legend beyond reproach.
I don't want you to yell at me also.
No,
I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you.
No, I'm just saying, that's the point that I'm making about John Stockton. Like, it's actually laughable that people are actually trying to bring up John Stockton in a negative way. It doesn't make any sense. Like you said, he was an everyman when you talk about how his looks were. If you think about the 92 Dream Team, I remember John Stockton telling that story. he was walking around with his family in Barcelona in the city, and this woman was walking by him, and she asked him if he was American, and she asked him where he was from and blah blah blah, and she was wearing the 92 Dream Team T-shirt with all the characters of the 92 Dream Team, and he actually pointed to the shirt she was wearing and said, "That's me right there." And no one knows John Stockton. Like, do you think these other guys could walk around? You think Michael Jordan could walk around the city and no one, oh my God, who's this dude? No, man, that was John Stockton, unassuming again. But like you said, he just showed up to work every day, man. He was just there. I said the same thing all the time when I go watch. You turn the freaking game on. If the Utah Jazz was supposed to play, John Stockton was going to be there. And you know who's going to be there next to him? Carl freaking Malone.
Yep.
I saw Meg K mentioned Stockton being willing to set screens on gigantic people. Yep. And when Pat Bev talks about just swapping Ja into there, that's part of the game, Pat Bev. Do you think Ja's going to get in there and set good screens?
Absolutely not.
That's another great point, man. That's a true professional, John Stockton. These are the kinds of things that we talked about. That's why Gary Payton will mention those kinds of things in his Hall of Fame speech about John Stockton, the competitive John Stockton, and how tough it was to go against John Stockton, man. I mentioned all those point guards from the 80s into the 90s that John Stockton competed against, man. He went against the best of the best of the best, man. We're talking about the Magics, the Isaiahs. He went against guys like Jason Kidd. He went against Gary Payton. He went against all of these guys out there, man, in their primes, man, at their peaks. He went against them dudes, man.
Last thing I'm going to say about Stockton before I move on is Stockton missed 22 games in his career. Ja Morant missed more than that last season.
God damn.
That's crazy.
The man played 72 games in the last 3 seasons, Ja Morant.
That's all that needs to be said. Also, Stockton got in a fucking car wreck and still played.
Yep.
Yeah. Does the player actually being on the court register with you, Pat Bev? Is that important?
Apparently it doesn't. Anyway, Red Factor. John Stockton played 82 games for at least 16 years. Also, one of the years, 95, this shortened season, he still played all 52 games or whatever it was. So 17 times he played all available games to him. Ja is barely available for a full season. I'm taking Stockton on availability alone.
We struck a nerve, or Pat Bev struck a nerve. The Stockton topic has struck a nerve with people.
Vincent Garcia coming through yet again. Thank you, sir. Harper over Wemby is my hot take. Wemby is ass.
Hey, yeah, I like Harper. I like Harper's hair in particular.
I like that comment. A shout to Vicente Garcia. Yeah, Harper was very impressive during that finals.
Yeah. Import AI coming through with the 10 joules and a happy poop.
That's why I laughed earlier. 10 joules will get you a happy poop.
Get you a happy poop. All right.
John Freeman coming through. Welcome and thank you for John Freeman with 10 joules.
Right, yo, shout to John Freeman.
Thank you.
Damn. Sleepy Audi. I'm not S7, whatever, however you pronounce that.
Sleepy
coming through
Audi.
with 800 joules.
Yeah, once again, shout out to Sleepy Audi, 800 joules, the Husky. Shout out to you guys again, man, dropping jewels on us, coming through, hanging out with us for a little while. And again, man, shout out to all you guys, man, sticking up for John Stockton, man, and setting the record straight for John Stockton out there, because that's what it's about, man. The true basketball fans coming out there and once again joining up and letting people know that this is not going to be tolerated. People aren't going to allow you to come out here and say nonsense anymore. These hot takes and all this nonsense, this rage bait crap. Oh, I'm just trolling y'all, man. Nah, we're not going to allow this stuff. And we're not going to forget what you said. So you're going to come out here on the microphone and say some nonsense? I don't want to hear nothing about you next week. I don't want to hear nothing about you next month.
Nope. Isaiah Valeriano coming through again. Thank you. They capping Stockton because Beverly can't admit the fact that a plumber is better than him.
Because they were never plumbers.
He knows
they were never plumbers. That's the issue. Like, we let JJ Redick's sorry ass call former great players plumbers, and for whatever reason, it stuck. They were never plumbers. Like, John Stockton would run 99% of these dudes off the court right, maybe not right now, but 10 years ago, probably, just based on pure basketball knowledge.
Thank you, Isaiah. Hey, Cyberius, I uploaded a screenshot if you want to show it really quick.
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking earlier about Shaq's lack of work ethic, and yet there was a point in his career that mofo looked like this. And he's over 300 pounds and a muscular dude. Was he in the gym a lot during this time, or was it just mostly natural? He didn't look like that. He didn't look like that when he came in the league. That's for sure.
No, he did not look like that when he came in.
No, Shaq was into exercise and exercising and things like that, but it wasn't to the degree that we talked about, to squeeze everything he could have out of his potential. No. And that's really what we reference, when Shaq went Hollywood and, started to focus on other things. I think he's lost focus on the training and the diet. I think the diet was ultimately what the downfall with Shaquille O'Neal was sure. When we talk about, remember, exercise and nutrition go hand in hand, like my man AOH knows.
I do know. People just can't stop putting shit in their mouth. That temporary bit of enjoyment rules out all the consequences that they will face. Hey, and if you're rich and you can go to a fancy restaurant every night, I guess Shaq chose food over career.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, Shaquille O'Neal was an amazing athlete, man. Like I said, I remember when Shaq came in the league, it was very impressive what Shaquille O'Neal could do in the basketball court. I mean, he was exciting. Like I said, he had the charisma. I mean, we've said this numerous times, but I feel like sometimes when we think about how Shaq has been over the last 5 years or so, he's become, like we've said, very sensitive and kind of like unbearable at times as far as the things that he said. But make no mistake about it. When people talk about these guys being bigger, stronger, faster today as opposed to, 10, 20 years ago or whatever they want to say, someone like Shaquille O'Neal and, what he could do on the basketball court that size, I mean, guys, insane stuff.
Shaq had a TV show called Shaq Versus in which he engaged in multiple sports, and he did a pretty damn good job for a dude his size to just be able to go from sport to sport and not look like a fucking fool. I mean, this guy had agility and height and weight.
Yeah, he did. And Shaq had a little bit of a nastiness to him also.
Yeah, but if he didn't have just that little piece of him that needed to be liked and loved, we're having a way different conversation about him now. If he had matched Kobe's work ethic, I mean, I think that's a real quick Cyberius. I think that's a big piece of it. Is he never aligned with Kobe's work ethic, and that made it that much worse because Shaq half-assing it got them, where they were. Imagine if he just gave a little bit more effort and got to where Kobe was work effort wise.
No, I completely agree. If you put Kobe's work ethic into Shaq, I think we're having a different conversation about who the greatest player of all time is.
Easily.
And that's the gift and the curse for someone like Shaquille O'Neal in the regard that, Kobe Bryant was never gifted on the level of Shaquille O'Neal as far as the physical attributes and what, they were given genetically when we talk about Shaq versus Kobe. So in that regard, Shaq rests on his laurels, right? Like we mentioned, Shaq was so dynamic and could do such crazy things. And he really was great from the minute he stepped on the court that he started to believe and drink the Kool-Aid, right? Read the newspaper clippings, so to speak, like they would say. That's what ultimately Shaq did. For a lot of the great players, that's sometimes what separates them by such a slim margin. That's why, Michael Jordan doing and having the work ethic to match the physical gifts and the genetics that he was blessed with on top of it, it really put him to another level. Shaq not having Kobe's work ethic, we said, really would have put him over the edge, but him not having that, it doesn't make him lesser. It just means and hurt him overall in what he achieved. But Shaq was still great and achieved a lot.
Isaiah Ballerino coming through again. Shaq wanted rings. Yeah, onion rings.
That man sold diabetes and continues to sell diabetes in a can to every young black kid in America. Shaq is for sale. He is Cyberius, you said this last week. I said it the week before that. He is by far the most for sale athlete in the world. And it is weird because he is the most dominant force in the history of basketball I've ever seen. But he is a shell of a man.
I mean, listen, he's a businessman. We talk about Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, he's even made comments about how his kids are not going to get anything, or he's whatever. His money is his money. It's not his kids' money, and these kinds of things. And Shaq, I believe, was one of the first investors in the ring cameras and that kind of technology.
Yeah.
So Shaq has been a businessman. He's been a step ahead about a lot of this stuff. I remember when he took over Papa John's, after Papa John's was going downhill due to those racial things, and Shaq stepped in and tried to squash out the racial problems that Papa John's was dealing with. So Shaq is ultimately a businessman. He's done a lot of good things for people. You've seen and heard the stories of Shaquille O'Neal going to some of these establishments and buying everything that was on layaway for people. And I saw a story when Shaq was, in some store and some guy was trying to buy an engagement ring for his wife. And, Shaq, dished out the money for the guy to get the engagement ring or, whatever the case is. So, I mean, not saying that Shaq is the greatest humanitarian or greatest human being in the world. But again, someone like Shaq, the money is something that's important to him. He's going to go out there and try to make that money.
He's done some good things, though. I mean, can't be denied.
He's done a lot of great things, Shaq. Absolutely, man. He absolutely
has
done
a lot of good things.
Yeah, he has.
Import watched that Versus series and says he even swam against Phelps. I didn't know that. Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember the preview for that. I remember that going on back in the day. That's actually true. Once again, shout out to you guys in the chat for coming through and adding to the live, man. That's actually true. Yes.
That's a wide range of different sports he had the nerve to take on.
Yeah,
man,
but LeBron James is
absolutely.
golfing. Yeah, but LeBron is golfing. That's way more impressive.
Like when they talk about LeBron James maybe playing football, I could really see Shaq out there in the NFL back in the day, man. When he first came in the league and he was doing his thing, Shaq could have been dangerous out there in the football field, man. Like I said, Shaq had a nasty streak to him, a nastiness to Shaq, man. He was no slouch out there on the basketball court, man.
Nope.
KD Ladner, I don't know why it won't let me reply directly to you, but asked about my video about LeBron taking the technicals from his teammates in order to get to the scoring title faster. And I just put in the chat what the title of the video was since you asked.
Oh, I like that title. That's a good title. Classic LeBron James. You know what would be really interesting, and I know this is probably impossible to do, if someone could actually go back in the annals and check all the points that LeBron James accumulated off of technical free throws in his career.
It would. I think in my video I included how many he would have had if he wasn't such a terrible free throw shooter.
Wow.
Right. You know what would be another interesting thing, AOH, to dig into also, if you could actually break down, if someone actually could find out how many of those instances LeBron James was on the court with a player that was a much greater free throw shooter than him.
Oh, like always.
Right. Exactly.
He was the worst. He was the worst
every season.
Right.
I'm not joking. Always.
No, you're right. He's pretty much one of the poor free throw shooters on the team every season. When you think about where he shoots, I mean, some of these years, LeBron James was shooting the 60s, 67%, 69% from the free throw line.
I think his best year was 74.
They were clapping for him when he was at 70. I was going to say 72%. Shannon Sharp was talking about how great he was.
No.
Shannon Sharp was like, there he goes. They were betting fucking Mountain Dew on it, on that stupid ass show. Whether or not
I think it's high as Michael Jordan's low.
Right. 68% they were betting Mountain Dew. Like, what are we doing? What? Yeah. That's your GOAT? 68%?
Crazy. All right. So moving on, I'm going to play this video. I'm not offering any context to anyone. I'm just going to play it. I may even play it twice. Chat, panelists, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. All right, so I'm curious what people think about that clip.
Who's guarding him?
It doesn't matter. It's a black man. It's a black dude. That's what AI sees.
All right.
I mean, listen, this is what I'm talking about. See, this is the problem with a lot of this stuff. This video footage, the film that we see that gets released, right? You know, they pick and choose what they want you to see, how they want you to see it. And again, no one's denying that LeBron James could dunk the basketball. This is great for LeBron James, man. No doubt about it. He's going to have plenty of dunks next season. This is not the problem. I want to see LeBron James doing defensive sliding drills. That's what I want to see. You want to make me impressed? You want to color me impressed? Show me some video footage of LeBron James bending his knees, sliding his feet on defense. That's what I want to see LeBron James doing. I want to see LeBron James playing all 82 games next season. That's what I want to see. I want to see LeBron James get across half court. Don't show me LeBron James playing half court basketball. I want to see LeBron James get across half court.
Robin, let me tell you what's funny about that video, okay?
Travel's
what's funny about this
AI.
video?
I love that comment.
Yes, Robin. Yes,
Travel,
it's AI. Robin, come back from your muscle ups. Yeah, even in AI, this fucker travels. Even in AI. So the reason I wanted to bring this up was there's a couple reasons. We talked maybe about an hour ago, about how basketball fans are going to tell you how it was, and maybe, well, AOH is older. He might not be here in 10 years, but the rest of us will be here. We may or may not be here to tell you about it. This is a fake ass video, right? Like, we all know that. But 5-6 years from now, 5-6 years from now, they might not know that this is fake. A, and B, whoever created this, I'd love to know what prompt they put in and whether or not they included that he travels. C, they gave him a fresh ass lineup. His hair has never looked that crispy. It's never been that painted. So my question is were these prompts put in to AI to create it this way? Or is this how sick it really is out here?
He's not
that
quick.
My critique is still valid.
He's not that quick. That was the first giveaway.
Yep. That's a huge
red flag. Yeah, really. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
So are you asking Speem if they intentionally included the travel to make it more realistic?
Yeah, like, was it intentional or not?
Yeah, no, he travels worse than that. It was still not realistic.
See, they won't put no AI version of LeBron James playing defense, sliding his feet. Like I said, you show me them drills. You show me LeBron James going out there and hustling. Remember, we mentioned before on these lives, when they talked on the Lakers about them getting rid of the shoot-arounds and, taking things away from practice for LeBron James to help him out. Again, are you going to be really practicing during the season when you're flying in on your helicopter for every game? When you're not living in the city you're supposed to be playing in? Are you going to be available for those practices? Are you going to be there on the court, your teammates? Are you really going to be putting the work in? Damn the videos, like I said, man. I don't care what he's doing on these damn videos. We saw Ben Simmons not too long ago knocking down some three-pointers in a video.
Hey, shout out to Casual Gamer real quick. Sorry, AOH. Let me talk my shit real quick because I did just drop a video about this. Okay. What kind of greatest of all time has a – I got to not swear. I got to stop swearing. Has a stunt double doing basketball plays in a movie that has nothing to do with basketball?
I'm actually really upset that I saw that video you made because I had no idea that horrific movie.
Isn't that wild?
It was a secret tribute to LeBron James.
Disgusting.
Wow. That was something else, dude. Look at this practice video. I mean, according to AI, LeBron James thinks it's worthwhile to start dyeing his beard again for practice.
Yes.
He doesn't even wait for regular season to start dyeing his beard again, according to AI. I want to make sure the dudes think I look like I have a nice full dark beard. I'm sorry. Go back to your house party video. Boy, that shit depressed me, though, Speem.
For anybody that's never seen that piece of shit movie, you should, only for the basic fact that there's a whole you should steal it. Find a way to steal it if you can.
No, don't watch it.
Or watch my video. But either way, you watch a movie about a house party, you think there's no reason to ever play basketball, except unless LeBron James pays for the movie and then you play basketball. Check that out whenever you get a chance. Check my shit out. Follow my channel.
Right.
Hey, one of you guys, Cyberius, was it you that pointed out that LeBron is the only player allowed to have a company, a production company?
A production company.
What he was was that grandfathered in?
Grandfathered in.
Of course. What the fuck have they not grandfathered in?
Yep.
Just
he was taking steroids before he entered the league. It's grandfathered in.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
My
Legion 24
steroid answer is the steroid answer almost every week is that they will just change. They'll classify that particular steroid that he gets tested positive for as legal prior to releasing the results. They're like, well, that one isn't so bad, even if
It's
it
a
is the number one
crab dribble steroid.
crab dribble steroid.
Crab dribble steroid.
I completely believe that. They'll just say HGH is, was never banned, or he was also grandfathered in.
Well, I think that circles back to something that actually AOH, you and Robin brought this up. I think today it circles back to, okay, well, even if he is busted, what does the consequence look like? So, I mean, if you strip him of his rings, okay, is that a fair consequence? To me, no, because he's still profiting off of cheating, right? But then it's like, well, maybe there are a bunch of athletes that do that. The difference is they're not in our ears 24/7 talking about how they don't cheat the game. Again, none of us would give a shit if that wasn't the case.
Carl Harv's comment about show footage of him hitting shots in practice, which would clearly be AI, made me think, there won't be long before they just redo those clips of him in China missing everything, and they'll just change history. Hey, LeBron,
Yep.
wow, LeBron nailed everything.
Yeah,
Right.
11 in a row.
That's a good one, AOH. You're right about that, man. That would be
It's scary.
diabolical. Because
Hey,
that would
it is
literally
scary.
be
If we
rewriting
don't-
and editing history, and we would have all witnessed the originality of it, what actually happened. And we could all say, like, nah, man, we know what happened. We were there for the truth. We saw what happened on that damn video footage. That man went across all that damn water. He went all the way out there, deep-ass trip, all the way to promote yourself. You weren't promoting something else. You weren't promoting a sports drink. You weren't promoting you were promoting yourself.
Forever King.
And you went out there and goofed it up for yourself.
Yep. Robin, it's really scary. If you don't want to believe in reality, you don't have to. And AI will present you with your alternate version of reality.
Yeah. Total Recall.
That's
Speaking
such
of
a
open
great
arms,
reference.
Do the same thing for you.
That's such a great reference. Damn.
That's where we at right now with this stuff, man. I told you, they're going to tell us
Holy
all of a sudden
shit,
that we
that's
was
such
never
a
on
good
Mars.
reference. Yeah, but these young ass kids, they probably think you're talking about the remake. Because
probably
they're
are.
idiots.
Which is
I'm
crazy.
talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Damn, what a great reference. Good for you, Robin.
Oh, you know I'm the movie guy.
No, I'm the movie guy, but you're the push-up steroid guy.
He's
I'm the old
80s
movie
guy.
I don't
Yeah.
watch new movies. Because they're ass. And we can go down that road. I tried to watch Masters of the Universe. I made it 12 minutes in and turned it the fuck off.
Shame on you for
solid,
trying.
Solid film. Solid movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Solid movie. You know what? Just like Bring It On is a
gonna
solid
have to
movie
mute
while
Steve.
you're
I
doing
can't
your
listen to
burpees over there, AOH. Just like Bring It On is a great
Hey,
movie.
just because I don't have a pull-up bar, I'm doing what I can.
Doing your sumo squats.
Hey, squats are really important.
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah,
We-
I'm not even going to disrespect my man Dolph Lundgren and watch the new Masters of the Universe. I'm not even going down that road. Frank Langella as Skeletor in that one Masters of the Universe. I'm not going down that road.
That was the ultimate sports and fitness rants answer to that. That was exactly it. Shout out to the 80s and Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah. Shout out to Dolph Lundgren. That's
right.
That's the response.
Boy, that was
That's
probably that actually probably made it into that was probably late 80s, wasn't it? The Dolph Lundgren one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like 86, 87.
Yeah,
Because
something
he
like
did
that.
that,
yeah.
and then he did the Punisher, and then he did Rocky 4 a little bit later.
Yeah, once again, a shout out to Dolph Lundgren.
Shout out to
And,
Rocky 4.
Yeah. A showdown in Little Tokyo.
Showdown in
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Tokyo
Brandon
with
Lee.
Brandon Lee.
Yep. Classic.
Man, talk about a tragedy.
Ah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Word.
Here's
Peace
Sports
to
and
the
Fitness
pro.
Rants. Can you read this super?
Yeah, absolutely. A shout out to Breezy Wulong 33 for coming through. Thanks, Robin, for responding to my question on who's more impactful to the game between Russell and Jordan. Love your workout vids as well. Thank you very much, Breezy Wulong. I appreciate you coming through and supporting the live show. It means a lot, man. I try to respond to a lot of you guys in the comment section on my videos and the supers that people send. I try to do people requesting videos. And sometimes I know it takes a little bit of a time for me to get back to some of you guys. So forgive me, but I always try to respond to a lot of you guys. So I appreciate the support again. Breezy Wulong.
Well, we got through everything on the list. So,
Well,
I mean, I'm certainly, I'm always down to keep going, but I don't have anything else left on the agenda.
I got to go.
All right,
All
yeah,
right.
man. I mean,
Well,
we
then-
went for 2 hours. I mean, I think it was a great show.
It's a
It's
good
a good
time.
show.
It's a
Good
good time
show.
to call it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys.
Any of you guys have any last words before we shut it down?
Nope.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to Miss AOH. We're going to go out.
Nice.
Oh, word.
Congrats.
Oh, you guys are gonna go get your Romance in the Stone on? That's great.
Romancing the Stone. Jesus.
Yo, that's a great
Robin
movie
got
right
it.
there.
Hey, Robin
man.
got it.
Shout out to
Yep,
Romance
Robin
in the
got
Stone.
it.
Shout out to
I know
Matthew
what it
Robin
is.
and Michael Douglas.
Hell
Thank
yeah,
you.
man.
Thank you. Yep. Gonna
Yo,
go hang
man,
out in the
yo.
jungle.
Flip that by.
Gonna go party in the jungle looking for gems and shit. You
And
didn't
they
get
had
it.
the
Damn.
sequel, Jewel of the Nile. Once
Yeah.
again, man. Shout out to
Alan?
my man Speen for mentioning Romance.
Thank
in the
you. How
Stone.
you not get my gems joke? Damn.
Yo, my dad had that movie on VHS tape back in the day. Again, man, shout out to all you guys, man. It was a great Wednesday live show. Again, I appreciate doing this with you guys on Wednesdays. Thank you to my man Cyberius, Speen, the Zarda video footage. Congratulations. I hope you guys enjoy your night tonight, man. Shout out to Miss AOH. And again, man, thank you very much, guys. Again, man, you guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Later, everybody.
Team,
Thank
any
you.
last words?
Deuces. No, absolutely not.
All right, get the fuck out then. AOH.
Deuces.
Mm-mm.
All right, then we will leave it there.
Hey, happy anniversary,
thank you everybody in the
AOH.
chat. Thank you so much for all the supers. And AOH is already gone, so fine, we're leaving.
Deuces.
All right, guys.